go on. So first thing we do, this radical is cube root. That's the radicand to the 1 power. So I rewrite the denominator is 3 plus 2x to the 1/3 power. And the numerator is not a blob. It's just regular power rule. Now, if you wanted to, you could move this up and then do 3 plus 2x to the negative 1/3 power and use product rule on it, which is what I would have done as a student because I couldn't remember quotient rule. So the first thing I did was I rewrote. Then I'm going to use quotient rule. So that f prime of x bring the denominator up. Times the derivative of the numerator minus the numerator times the derivative of the denominator all over the denominator squared. So this becomes 3 minus 2x to be 1/3 times the derivative of 1 minus 5x squared is what? Negative 10x minus, because that's not going to be chain rule, 1 minus 5x squared times the derivative of 3 plus 2x to the 1/3, that's chain rule. So 1/3 times the blob to the negative, take 3 minus 3 over 3 away, so that's minus 2 over 3, times the derivative of the inside. Now, how much of this kind of notation that you put in is up to you. All over the denominator, 1/3 times 2 is going to be 2/3. Three minus 2x to the 1/3 times negative 10x minus 1 minus 5x squared times 1/3 times 3 plus 2x to the negative 2/3, and the derivative, negative 2/3, and the derivative of 3x plus 2 is 2, all over 3 plus 2x to the 2/3, and this is where you stop. Because have you now performed the differentiation? Yes. From this point in time on is all algebra. Yes?
Shouldn't that be negative 1/3 for all those? Because you brought it from the bottom?
No. Remember the rule says bring the denominator up. It would be negative if I were going to use power product rule on it.
Okay.
So now it's just algebra. So this is going to be negative 10x blob to the 1/3 minus 1/3 times 2 is 2/3. Blob, well, it's not really a blob. And a blob to the negative 2/3 all over 3 plus 2x to the 2/3. Now I have a greatest common factor of this guy. And what's the smallest power? Negative 2/3. So again, I'm going to take a negative 1 out because of the negative here and the negative here. And it times 3 plus 2x to the negative 2/3. That's the smallest power. So I'm taking a blob to the negative 2/3, so it's going to be 10x. And I'm taking a blob to the negative 2/3 out, so this is going to be minus a minus 2/3, which is going to be a 1/3 plus 2/3 or 3/3.
Excuse me?
Yes.
This is 3 plus 2x, not 3 minus 2x.
And this becomes a plus 2/3 times 1 minus 5x squared, and I'm taking that sucker. Now, what happens to him? He's going to go to the bottom as a 3 plus 2x to the 2/3 power. So this is going to be minus 1 times 30x plus 20x squared plus 2/3 minus 10/3 x squared all over 3 plus 2x to the, this times this is going to be 3 plus 2x to what power? 4/3, yeah. Add the exponents. Now you know why these things are so hard to video. So this is minus 1 times, and we have a 20x squared and this thing, and a 30x and that. So if I were going to do this in thirds with x squareds, I'm going to have to multiply by 3 over 3. So this would be a 30x plus 60/3 x squared plus 30x. 2/3 minus 10/3 x squared all over 3 plus 2x to the 4/3 minus 1. We have 60/3 minus 10/3 is 40/3. Plus 30x plus 2/3. There are other gross ways of doing this. 3 plus 2x to the 4/3. Minus 10 is 50, yes, thank you. Ick. But I could set that equal to x and solve using the quadratic formula. Set that equal to 0 and solve.